Hey guys, how you doing? Now, long-time viewers will know that I haven't been going out of my way in order to get a hold of the latest PlayStation 5 for myself. I did a little hunting last year in order to get my friend one before Christmas, but I certainly wasn't trying for myself. So it might surprise you that I am also now the proud owner of a PlayStation 5. And it was a sheer fluke. I just happened to be browsing Games' website in bed of the morning of Christmas Eve last year, and I saw the PS5's in stock.
Oh, it's in stock. Why?
So yeah, it was a complete fluke, and I am loving this. Now that's likely in part because I haven't wasted so much time trying to get a hold of one for myself. Games load so damn fast now. That controller, especially its adaptive triggers, is a joy to use. Exclusives like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart look absolutely gorgeous, and it even supports my PSVR thanks to that free adapter I got from Sony last year. But you know what? No one console is perfect, and if we just sat down and talked about all the things that we liked about these things, well, I ain't gonna get any clicks, is it? So, hello fellow gamers, and these are 5 things that disappointed me about the PlayStation 5. Number 1. It's gargantuan! There seems to be a strange trend with launch consoles that have gone on for the last couple of decades now, where they have to be either surprisingly compact or they're proper chunky. And the PS5 is one hecking chunky boy. Now the Series X isn't exactly petite either, it is quite beefy, but at least its dimensions are more conservative. When positioned horizontally, its footprint physically on your shelf isn't really all that different to a 1X. It's just taller. The PS5's size is definitely a lot more awkward to work with. I don't store my PS5 vertically, like Sony would want me to, but every example I've seen of someone storing it in this position is clearly compensating in some way. I've been seeing it stood all by itself off to the side, away from everything else. I've seen examples where it's stood directly behind the TV, some examples where it's in front of the TV, slightly obscuring the display, and it's not that easy with it placed horizontally either, simply because its footprint is so incredibly vast. My PS5 replaced my PS4 underneath the main TV, and beside it also had the PSVR breakout box. Now, I have a decently sized TV stand, but this thing takes up so much space that it fills the space that was previously taken up by both the PS4 Pro and the PSVR breakout box. I've had to move the breakout box onto another shelf, it's that big. I can only imagine that people who bought the PS3 at launch faced similar issues, because the launch PS3 was also a chunky boy. But over time, Sony brought out smaller versions that were definitely more reasonably sized. Now we're definitely going to see the same with the PS5, with a slim model likely coming out in the next couple of years, which will have more shelf-friendly dimensions. But I do wonder if they'll drop PS4 backwards compatibility in order to achieve that. Only time will tell. Number 2. That crummy console stand. It was clear from the very beginning that Sony designed the PS5 to be a primarily vertically standing console. Microsoft also had that idea, but at least with the Series X it's just a big black box, so really you can stand it any which way you like. But fear not, you'll hear from Sony, as you can also stand the PS5 horizontally! But unlike the Series X, it's a rather more flimsy affair. Now included with every PS5 is this unusual black disc. This is its stand. Now, anyone who's had a PS2 Slim in the day and had it stood up vertically will instantly recognise this, as it bears a passing resemblance to the vertical stand used for that. And it works pretty much the same way too, by screwing onto the bottom of the console. Now this seems to work quite well. The console's centre of gravity is lower down and towards the innards of the PS5, so it stands vertically without fear of falling over. But you also need the stand in order to position the PS5 horizontally. But given the console's curved appearance and its now offset centre of gravity, it means the console wobbles quite a bit. Every time I go and turn it on, insert a disc, or connect a new external hard drive, it wobbles. It just doesn't seem very stable at all, in fact it's rather precarious. Who knows when an accidental knock will move it so that a cable gets pulled out and causes damage to any one of the rear ports. If Sony hadn't bothered trying to go for this curvy, funky look, we wouldn't have this issue. But since they have, it really needs a better stand. Number 3. the controller's pitiful battery. Now don't get me wrong, the PS5's controller is excellent. It's really comfortable, it fits in my hands nicely, the immersive haptic feedback works really well with all the games I've tried, and those adaptive triggers are literal game changers. But the battery doesn't last very long, does it? The estimated battery life for a PS5 controller is supposed to be around about 12 to 15 hours, but I can't say my controllers have lasted any longer than 10 hours at a time. With the Xbox Series X controller, I rarely get a battery notification, and it's even less frequent with the Switch's Pro controller. With the PS5 controller, and I've only had the system for about 2 or 3 weeks at the time of writing, but I've already lost count how many times that low battery notification has popped up and I've had to charge the controller. Now, I don't know, maybe it's because the games I've been playing are making more use of the PS5 controller's features. You know, the fancy haptic feedback and the triggers and such. But you'd think the estimate Sony gave us would be based off, well, you know, normal PS5 use? Or maybe they just wanted to make a mint off the charging docks. Oh, hopefully controller updates in the future will help make it more energy efficient, or developers will better learn how to not go overboard with all the features at once. But for the moment, the battery life is just woeful. Thank God I keep a charging cable aside at all times. Number 4. Mediocre internal storage. Now normally when you're in the market for a hard drive of sorts, you'll find that most of the time all the drive's capacities have nicely rounded numbers, you know? 500 gig, a terabyte, 2 terabyte, you all know the drill. But when you look at the box of the PS5, it gives you an unusually, non-rounded number for the internal storage, 825 gigabytes. Now some might look at that and think, well, it's probably really just a 1 terabyte drive, but the operating system's taken up quite a bit of that space, so Sony's simply showing us the initial usable space. That's rather honest of them. Nope. That is the total capacity of the internal storage, which seems kinda odd if you ask me. But what really takes the cake is that the OS takes up another 150 odd gig of that. So you're only left with a measly 667 gigabytes. It's closer to half a terabyte than it is a full terabyte, which for something which is meant to be a next-gen system, is a bit crap to be honest. Now given how the size of games are getting bigger and bigger these days, and you can't run PS5 games off external storage, you can store them there, but you can't run your PS5 games off them. A lot of PS5 owners are going to need to get M2 internal expansions very quickly. I mean, Gran Turismo 7, that's due out in March. That's going to be 110 gigabytes, and I know that there are more games on the market which are even bigger than that. It makes sense for some kinds of games to get bigger and bigger with each generation, you know, taking advantage of what the new systems have to offer. But come on Sony, skimping out on the internal storage was not a good idea. Number 5. We can't really organise our libraries. On my PS4, I had a whole system in place. I organised my games into different folders. I had one for games that I'd bought, one for VR games, another for demos, and other various different folders for the PS Plus games that I downloaded. Everything was organised, and it worked well. It was really easy to find the games that I wanted to play. However, on the PS5, no such luck. All you get is a short list of your most recently played games, and to find any of the others outside of that, you have to go across to your entire game library and search through that. Call me crazy, but I don't tend to trawl through my entire library when I know what game I want to play next. I simply pick it out from wherever I've put it. Now yes, granted, Sony were kind enough to at least give us the option to sort by the game's install date, which might be enough for some. And you know, that's not to say that I hate all of the PS5's UI. I'm quite happy with everything else. In fact, I'm quite a fan of that control center, which in of itself seems to be a bit of a dividing feature. And keeping media in a separate tab at the top so they don't get lost amongst your game library? That makes complete sense. But Sony, really? Just give us back the damn folders, will ya? Or at the very least, let us customize those tabs at the top so we can organize our libraries better. So there you go, those were a few of the things where the PS5 is rather a letdown. Now I'm no Xbox fanboy because I've done the same with the Series X. If you want to see what disappointed me about that system, check out the card in the corner. But what about you? Do you have any other gripes with the PS5? Let everyone know down below in the comments, and well, while you're down there, please leave a like if you like the video, And you know, there's always that subscribe button if you want to hear more from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.